Nitrous, baby.
Bem-vindos a mais um episódio das sagas e das histórias que eu estou compartilhando com vocês aqui nesse canal. Para quem não me conhece, sou Anderson Dick, sou fundador da Fueltech, mas aqui eu estou para falar de carros de loucuras e hoje eu vim conhecer uma história, não só uma garagem, mas uma história de vida de um gearhead, um cara que é vizinho meu, próximo aqui, menos de 15 minutos da minha casa, que eu conhecia já de outras maneiras a história dele, mas hoje eu tive a oportunidade de conhecer ele pessoalmente. Eu vou aqui mostrar os carros dele, vou mostrar um pouco da história da empresa dele, como é que ele conseguiu montar um projeto de garagem, uma coleção de carros tão incrível que nem vocês estão vendo aqui atrás. Vocês estão vendo que o cara a cor preferida dele é verde, não é à toa que eu estou com essa camiseta nova aqui, Gearhead verde, mas hoje estou tomando inclusive um café diferente do meu chimarrão, mas hoje a gente vai mostrar, trouxe uns pessoal, uns brasileiros que estavam junto aqui, inclusive um brasileiro que me apresentou para ele, para conhecer um pouco dessa garagem, um pouco dessa história. Então, acho que vai ser um episódio diferente, se vocês vão gostar, bota na TV aí, ó, prepara o chimarrão, hoje eu preparo o café aí, ó, pão de queijo, a cuca também, porque o episódio vai estar legal. Então, vamos lá. Agora é o seguinte, ó, esse cara aqui é um brasileiro, é o Carlos. Bom, tranquilo?
Bom, tranquilo.
Sempre assistindo os episódios aí, né?
Sempre.
Já tínhamos falado algumas vezes, né?
Já, assíduo.
É, e o Carlos insistiu, disse, cara, tem que conhecer um cara aqui, né? E me apresentou justamente para me apresentar o Matt, né? Que é o colecionador disso aqui. E a gente já estava mais de mês para combinar, para vir aqui, né, visitar. Acabava que ele estava viajando, tu estava viajando,
exatamente.
Todo mundo estava, eu estava no Brasil muitos meses, né? E agora deu certo. Mas tu também, que carro que tu tem?
Eu tenho uma F100, eu sou da galera da lasanha.
Mas ó, F100 com motor Chevrolet, viu?
É só pra bagunçar mais um pouco. Então, tá com o motor trincado.
O que o Felipe...
Tá explicado porque o Felipe deu bola, viu? F100 com motor Chevrolet?
Pois não,
tá explicado.
Não, ele até queria comprar uma vez o motor do Mustang elétrico nosso ali pra botar o motor que saiu do Mustang.
Falei com o Anderson várias vezes, mas não saiu nada, não.
Aquele motor vai virar stand lá pra FT Education, vamos deixar ele ligado lá. Mas legal, tu já mora aqui nos Estados Unidos faz anos, né?
Sim, eu já moro aqui fazem 8 anos, desde 2016 eu moro aqui. E eu trabalho no ramo de piso de madeira, né? Acabou sendo apresentado para mim esse ramo, deu certo. E dentre vários clientes assim, aí conheci o Matt por acaso. E quando a pessoa, o contratista que me passou o trabalho, falou assim, esse cara tem uma garagem com 30 carros. Pensei, tem que conhecer esse cara. Hoje não tem 30 carros aqui, né? Mas ele... Então, um dia eu tava andando aqui, eu vi uma Ferrari F50 passeando. Aí eu falei, putz, cara, deve ser esse cara. Aí a gente acabou conversando, o cara, vocês vão ver, ele é simpático pra caramba, gente boa. E aí ele começou a conversar, falou da Ferrari, falou tudo, e não sei como a gente chegou no assunto da Ferrari do Anderson, Ferrari amarela. Então, eu falei, cara, a gente pode vir aqui um dia pra ver teus carros e tudo? Ele falou, claro, velho, vamos aqui. Pode filmar um episódio, se for necessário? Ele falou, claro. Então eu falei, vamos lá.
Então,
depois de tantos meses aí, né, tentando marcar, finalmente hoje deu certo.
A gente não sabia como é que ia ser, eu trouxe meu segurança ali, o Denis.
O segurança do Daniel também.
O Daniel aí também. Porque, pra quem não conhece, né, o Denis é o By Denis, né, que é brincadeiras à parte. Mas se você conhece, e o Daniel, vocês já viram no episódio do Opala aí, veio cair no golpe do churrasco. E o Daniel é o seguinte, ontem eu convidei ele para um churrasco lá em casa, na verdade um peixe. Já me arrumou a máquina de gelar água lá pra tomar banho gelado.
Caiu no golpe
aí os dois, aí nós temos uma sauna lá, depois os dois fizeram uma sauna, mas tudo bem.
Já estão dormindo junto no hotel, né? Tá dormindo não, né? Ele tá dormindo, né?
Aqui tava um passando Militec no outro.
Deve se arriar. Mas ó, tem um episódio do Opala que a gente tá acabando. Já viram o episódio, porque provavelmente é a ordem desses episódios aí. E hoje tem meu filho aqui, ó, seu Eduardo, né? Mostrando aí a camiseta igual, aí ó, veio me ajudar nos episódios aí. Queria ver também a coleção, né?
Sim.
E aí nós viemos, tinha que vir de carros adequados, né? Nós viemos aí com as M5 e o Supra aí, que já mostrou pra ele. Mas deixa eu falar uma coisa, eu vou conversar bastante em inglês com ele, né? Então botem as legendas. Então é o seguinte, deixa eu apresentar. So, Matt,
Hey,
nice
Anderson.
to meet you officially.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, I know you from many time hearing, not only knowing you, but knowing your company that you founded, and I think that's a cool story to show for the guys. A lot of people that watch my channel, they are car guys, but always behind a car guy there is a passion or there's something that motivates us to do that. So
That's right.
And the one thing cool about Matt, is when I was building my Ferrari, my 355, I was searching online and I saw, man, this company, Morimoto, and I wasn't really aware about the story of the company. I didn't know it was like a local to us here. And I saw the cool tail lights for the 355. And that was the missing piece on my car, because I always looked for those headlights. And there is a thing in Brazil, come on here, this car in Brazil, the Opala, it has the same exact round
the tail lights, yeah.
And as every single car from the 70s.
Right.
So I always thought, man, the Ferrari
somebody's got to make this.
It's so outdated.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to use those round, and they didn't really have an appeal.
Yeah.
And I was instantly impressed by the ones your company designed. So you guys know he's the founder of Morimoto, which is probably the most known company in this industry worldwide, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, I think it was a cool to see that. When I saw the taillights, I thought, man, somebody in this company probably fought or decided to do the taillights for the F355 against all the numbers, against all the probability that will generate too much revenue.
That's right. It was a greedy decision.
I was going to say somebody probably had a 355 in this company
Yep.
and wanted to have for his car.
That's right.
And designed that for the company.
Well, you assumed right, man. And first of all, I mean, good to be standing here with you, another car enthusiast, another business owner, and obviously another Ferrari 355 enthusiast, first and foremost. But yeah, I mean, you totally caught me with that one because I mean, I've always loved the 355. It's always been my favorite car of all time. And the one thing on that car just that didn't fit the bill was the taillights. I mean, on my old 355, I had one before this one. I mean, they were just bubbled out from the heat from the engine, and so between the cracking and the deformation on the lenses, I was like, we got to do something about this, guys. But total greedy move, and I'm glad we did it though. No regrets.
Yeah, and that's how I was saying. Usually, every successful company, not only on our motorsports, but every company in any area usually goes for somebody's passion of doing something different,
right? And
not just thinking numbers, right? Or not thinking what they have to do. And that's where I see a lot of similarities between our companies, and between how we work on the projects and development. Some of our projects we develop just because we want to have something fixed or done.
Right. Well, I mean, look, as a car guy, right? I mean, you're able to put yourself in that unique position of the people who ultimately end up being your customers, right? Because you have that perspective. And, for me, I mean, when I started my company back in 2005, it's exactly where I was. I mean, I was driving a Dodge Stratus, and it had just the basic incandescent, or halogen headlights. And at the time, I mean, everybody, or all like the high-end luxury cars had xenon headlights, right? So this was like the early 2000s when, Fast and Furious 1 was the movie, and I wanted the cool xenon headlights on my car too, right? And I think a lot of people who had a Dodge Stratus who were tuning them, did as well, right? And so I ended up finding these this pair of broken headlights from an Audi that was in a crash, right? And I took the guts out of those lights, like the projectors and the xenon ballast, and then I hid the parts in my basement and found a way to retrofit those Audi guts into my Stratus headlights. And, ultimately I found a way to make it work. I mean, the wiring was a little bit archaic. It was not the most professional job, but, I mean, as an enthusiast, right, I was on a Dodge Stratus discussion forum, which was, everybody was on discussion forums back in the early 2000s. There's no Instagram, right? And all the other guys that had those cars, he was either a Stratus or a Mitsubishi Eclipse, because really underneath it was the same exact thing. And so I shared pictures of this retrofit conversion that I did in my headlights with all the people on the forum, and the crowd went wild, right? Everybody was like, I need that. I need that for my car. That's the coolest thing, because you could buy wheels off the shelf or exhausts and stuff like that, but there was no company that made aftermarket headlights with projectors or xenon, in them for a Stratus, of course. And so I actually started the company doing conversions for other people.
And that was
on the forum.
On your garage, or?
I mean, this was literally out of my parents' basement. Yeah, it was out of my parents' basement, and I I was 16, 17 years
Uh-huh.
old. Yeah. So I mean, I was just like a junior in high school at that point in time, and
And it was here? Locally
so
here?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Cleveland.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cleveland,
Okay.
Ohio. Yeah. So it was cold up there, but it was like a hobby for me. It was kind of what I wanted to be doing anyways. Was just like tinkering, and maybe make like $50 a week doing it. It was like nothing, but it was fun, and I enjoyed interacting with the other people who had the same car as I did
Yeah.
on the forums, and they would literally take their lights off and ship them to my parents' house, and I would take them apart using my mom's oven in the kitchen and put them back together with new xenon projector retrofit inside, and so that's really where the company started, and I kind of started this all just a year or two before I went to college at Ohio State, but I stuck with it, because I liked doing it anyways, and it was a good substitute for me income-wise instead of getting a part-time job at McDonald's or something like that. And I was doing this.
I always tell the kids, sometimes if you're young and spending your time work on something that you can learn.
That's right.
Even if you don't make too much money, because sometimes you decide for something you're not going to grow or not, zero possibilities.
Yeah.
And then later on, you will regret because you really had the chances of taking the risk, especially when you were young.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And when you're young, you can make $50 a week and it's great, because I didn't have many responsibilities or bills or kids, like I do now. And, it was enough to pay what small bills I did have.
Yeah.
I took the business with me to college when I went to, Ohio State my freshman year. And I actually continued to do that same exact thing out of my dorm room, which my roommate was not happy about that. But I would be cutting up.
He wasn't your partner.
He wasn't my partner, no. It was my good friend from high school, Dave. And I would just be cutting these headlights open in my small, 1-bedroom dorm room, and I would take them down to the lobby of the dorm where they had an oven, so I could split apart the lights to heat up the glue. But yeah, I stuck with it, really all through college, and what I was doing was I was getting batches of crashed headlights from crashed luxury cars like BMWs and Audis and Mercedes, Lexus that had xenon headlights as the original equipment, right? And so I would do these deals with salvage yards around the country so that I would ask them specifically, I want to buy the lights that have the broken mounting tabs and the cracks in the lenses, because to them, they're in the business of selling good used parts.
Correct.
And this stuff was garbage to them, right? And so they were like, man, I got a guy who wants to buy all this garbage, and they had no idea what I was doing with it. But to me, it was the gold, right? That's exactly, and it had all the parts that I needed.
But you're still doing it by yourself, or you
I was still doing this all by
and
myself.
What year was that?
This was about 2005, 2006, 2007, when I was, really made a business out of recycling crashed luxury car headlights, and I would just take them apart, get the guts out of the inside, and then I would clean them up, and then those would become the components that I would use to build these, retrofit kits that I would ultimately end up installing or retrofitting into people's basic halogen headlights. At that point, I had kind of expanded beyond a Dodge Stratus and a Mitsubishi Eclipse. I was doing other kinds of cars, Ford trucks or Toyota Tacomas and things like that. And I had built this little business, I built a reputation where I was like the guy that if you wanted to build a custom set of headlights, you take the lights off your truck and you ship them to this guy in Ohio, and he takes them apart and they come back with, a xenon projector retrofit inside.
I still want to, I think what people get curious, and obviously me and everyone, is when you did the big jump between being the guy doing that in your bedroom apartment to actually a big corporation, a company that it became. But before jumping to that, let's walk on the garage because I definitely want to show the guys some of the stuff.
Sure thing.
We've been chatting for a few minutes before here. Actually, Diego's late. No, I'm sorry. Diego.
Hey, better late than never.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. It was my fault. I forgot to send him the address. But let's show. First of all, that's a beautiful collection. And you can clearly see your taste for the green color. Everything is really related. And honestly, the cars, I like the diversity as well. To have different older, classic, modern, and not just completely stock or completely restored from from the vintage or just this completely like they were. I like the taste of modifying some of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have have a different taste on modifying the engines versus
we talked about that. Yeah,
but definitely we can help you out on the engine side.
We could do that too. Yeah.
But the cars, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, look, all these cars have my name all over them, right? I mean, and I mean, it's obvious to see that green over tan is my favorite thing, right? And so we'll start over here in the corner. Everybody's got to have a dusty car in their collection, right? The one that doesn't run. And this car actually is it's a 19, I think it's a 29 or a 30 Ford Model A that my wife and I inherited from her grandfather in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania before he passed away. You see my boys in there right now messing around. They call it the ancient. They call this car ancient car. And when we inherited, actually, it was like all original. And really, in hindsight, I would have left it that way. We did somewhat of a restoration on it. At the time when we got this car, I was actually neighbors with one of the marketing managers at Napa Auto Parts. And, she knew the story about how we inherited the car. And she's like, oh, that's so cool. We should do like a Napa know-how story, which was like this YouTube series that they were doing, this blog and YouTube series, where Napa will sponsor the restoration on the car. And, you guys will get a fully restored car out of it, and Napa will create content. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Well, they ended up hiring, actually Brian Fuller, you might know him. Yeah. He's a sharp guy. He's a really cool guy. Loved working with him to do the job. And we proceeded to take apart this 100-year-old Model A that was in Pittsburgh all of its life. And basically, as soon as I took it apart, I mean, more or less crumbled to pieces because it was like Swiss cheese, having been up in the Northeast in Ohio for the last 100 years. And ultimately, Napa's budget for the project ran out, and I was left holding the bag. And so, any case, worked with Brian, and really, we did go through the car. It's got an LS engine, V8, V8 now, whole new fuel system, new suspension, it's got four-wheel disc brakes, got automatic transmission now. And this is like the golf cart car, right? Yeah. We use it to really drive around the neighborhood.
It runs
on July 4th. It does run. The battery's dead right now. That was my fault. So you can see it's a little bit dusty here. But honestly speaking, it's just a kind of a fun car to putz around in the neighborhood on. And here in Atlanta, you can only drive at certain times of the year too, because there's no air conditioning. It's like the air conditioning is the vent in the window, and like when we drive it around on July 4th, we like clip a little fan, to both sides, and that's how we do it. But it's fun in the back. There's like the little rumble seat for the kids. They like to ride in there, and
they call this also for the mother-in-law, right?
What's that?
In Brazil, they call this for the mother-in-law.
Oh yeah, the mother-in-law seat. Yeah, exactly.
Pra sogra, esse é o banco da sogra.
Yeah, but it's fun to have this car. Obviously, it's totally different than everything else, and I'm really grateful to have inherited it from my my wife's grandfather as the only car guy in the family. I guess it was a rite of passage for me, and so this is the right place for it to live. Oh, thank you.
You like
Keegan's
this,
giving me
Eduardo?
It's pretty cool.
It looks pretty good.
It's pretty cool, and I like it too because like you never see anything like this, right? There's so many people driving lots of cool different cars around town, and rarely do you ever see something that's 100-year-old. So it's different, honestly, but it's very cool.
My dad also likes older cars because
Yeah,
he likes the classic old cars, like the Cuda.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And this car actually too, when we inherited it, it was green to begin with.
Oh yeah.
And so I didn't do that, but we did repaint it a kind of gave it somewhat of a fresh paint job and kept the interior relatively kind of period correct. It was like a like old woven material, what do you call it, burlap interior, and so it was all torn up, but we redid that, and so it's it's a throwback to the original spec.
And I have a question. What color was your Stratus?
My Stratus was black. It was black over gray. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the reference for the greens.
Yeah, so actually I could tell you where that came from. So I had my Stratus, and then when I went to college at Ohio State, I decided I was going to buy a new car, because actually the Stratus was a hand-me-down from my brother, who's older than me, and he was the one that actually got the new car. He handed it down to me, and then I bought a FJ Cruiser, which was army green with the white roof, and that was the car that turned me on to green forever. I would
That was
always love that.
story.
You know, I love that Army green TRD FJ Cruiser with the gold wheels. Like, I loved that thing.
Okay, I see
I
the
love that thing.
reference.
But you know, and honestly, that was the first green car I've ever owned.
Uh-huh.
But it goes back farther than that, right? Like when I used to play Need for Speed on the computer
Yeah.
back in the day, there was this one game, Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed.
Okay.
I don't know when they made it. It was probably like 2001 or something like that, maybe. Because the newest Porsche in the game was the 996 Turbo.
Okay.
And so whenever that would be, 2000-ish. And I would always, like, you spec the car out in the garage. I will always make my cars green with tan. So I don't know. It's just always, it's just a classic color combination. What can I say? Yeah.
This is your daily?
This is a daily. Yeah, so RS6.
This car is insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like the most badass daily driver, honestly speaking. This is the second one in this exact spec that I had. When I originally bought my RS6, which I had, I waited in line probably a year or a year and a half with Audi to get this car. Because I always wanted an RS6, and obviously they never sold them in the States until this body style, right? And I got the car, and I special ordered it in this color, which is actually a BMW Urban Green.
Ah, you a special order?
I special ordered
I
it,
didn't even know Audi did that.
Yeah, so Audi actually, they will do special order paint jobs, and the price on it is actually much more reasonable than what you would pay like Porsche for like a PTS. And so I got the car though from Audi, and I think that my first one was a 2022 model year, and they delivered it with so many factory paint defects. Sorry, Audi. But my running joke was like, I guess that's what happens when you put BMW paint on an Audi, is it didn't they were incompatible with one another. But yeah, I mean, it had all these like orange peel and all these like weird artifacts like in the paint, and ultimately Audi decided, we're going to replace the car, because they said, well, we can bring it back to our body shop and we can repaint it for you. So I'm not going to repaint a brand new RS6. You got to replace the car. So I drove it for probably about another year while they put this one into production. This is the second RS6.
This was a good job.
So this is technically one of two, I guess, now, because there's my old ones out there somewhere. But they did a good job on this one, and just love this car. There was a couple things that I did different though when they went to go rebuild the new one. So this one actually has the air shocks on it. The other one had the coil springs. The coil springs, believe it or not, were actually the upgrade on this car, like compared to the OEM equipment. I don't know why. I think it had something to do with like the top speed or something like that. But the air shocks are the way to go, because you can program them and leave them low, right? So you can modify the programming in the car to leave the shocks lower, so it's slightly lower than my original one was, just on the OEM shocks.
And I love the wheels.
Yeah, I mean, these are the Rotiform AVS wheels, which are obviously, if you know, modeled after the old school Audi AVS wheels, like on the early 2000s, like S4s and stuff like that. And so, I mean, it's like the only wheel that's right for this car, in my opinion.
I have one Audi that you might know. RS2.
RS2, nice. I think, did you show me a picture of that one? Is that the one you're putting the?
No, the RS2, the 95.
Okay.
The RS2 Porsche Audis.
Nice.
They never come to US.
Yeah.
Only 1,500 made, and in Brazil it was common. There was like, oh good, that was close.
My kids love to hang out in the garage. I mean, come on out, bud. There's a lot of moving pieces in here.
So the RS2 I had in Brazil, that car I sold in 2010 or 11.
Okay.
I sold for $15,000.
Nothing. Yeah.
Now that car worth 50, 100,
I
100
bet.
something. It's
I believe
crazy.
it.
I think it's $150,000.
Yeah.
Those cars goes for, and
Yeah.
it's so crazy because they became 25 years.
Right.
Then a lot of Americans start importing them and
Right.
paying whatever
Right.
number for the existing
Well,
ones.
I mean, that's the case with so many cars that we
Yeah.
love, right? I mean, that's the case with a bunch of these other cars in here.
Now I'm building a Brazilian small truck called the Volkswagen Saveiro.
Okay.
It's like a very small truck with the engine, transmission, wheels, brakes. Almost, some looking of the RS2. Making like a
I love
tribute
that.
for
I
the-
love those. I like this. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like the Lancia Delta,
Yeah.
Integrale. I
Yeah.
love those cars. Ford Cosworth. Love those like kind of old school rally cars. I mean, that stuff's right
Hi.
up my alley. Hey, dude.
Let me show this. The place I'm restoring
This is why all the cars have PPF on them, because
Oh, yeah.
my kids love to just come in here and swing the doors wide open. So that's good protection.
the place I'm restoring my Ferrari in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So they have over there
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Lancia Delta.
Lancia Delta. I like the wheels on it, too.
Yeah, Rotiform.
All rotiforms there, too. Yeah.
No,
That's
the
awesome.
brand Rotiform is honestly one of my preferred, and in Brazil
Yeah.
is very, very well known as well.
Really? Yeah, I noticed you had them on the Ferrari and
I have a 190E as well with the Rotiform.
with the front. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
other car you showed me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the SL, right? SL
The SL, I
500.
put the 190 just to try,
Okay.
but I'm still debating what to do
Yeah.
with my SL.
Well, Rotiform is good because, right, if you like those kind of old school
Yeah.
cars, you know, they have all like the modern wheels with the modern fitments, but in the period correct styles.
Yes.
Right? So
Yeah.
if you know, you know.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's it. Yep.
Cool.
But RS6 daily driver, I got the 2 car seats in the back, and
Yeah.
you know the 2 front seats are spotless and clean. The 2 back seats are often covered in crumbs
I
and
know,
snacks.
I
So
know how
that's-
you feel.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I like that car, and you know it's a lot of fun for daily driver. And honestly speaking, too, like the trunk in that, I can go on and on about this car because I
No.
love it so much. The trunk is just freaking huge.
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
see
my
it.
wife drives BMW X7 SUV, which is twice as big, but the trunk
Smaller.
size is like you can't fit anything in it. And this
Oh.
quality control. Kiki.
Watch out.
You got to watch the doors, man.
Oh, I said I saw that call.
This is
Okay.
a daily occurrence around here. Just wait till my 2-year-old comes in. He's even better. He likes to go on the 355 and he'll use the side scoop
Oh, to-
as a step to walk in. Yeah, so he like just climbs over it like a ladder. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Then, this Porsche I can see
Morimoto.
Morimoto.
Yep.
That's one of your designs.
Yep, exactly. So I guess we'll
okay.
start with the lights on this
911.
car. But
Yeah, a 911.
911. So this car, first of all, I mean, this car is special to me because I remember, you know, when I was a kid, probably no older than, I don't know, 3, 4 or 5 years old, my dad was nice enough to take me up the street to Fred Baker Porsche Audi, which was the main Porsche dealership in Cleveland, Ohio, where I grew up. And I remember him taking me to the showroom just so that I could look at the cars. Actually, it just happens to be the same exact place where I got my first set of broken headlights from, which is ironic. But in any case, the point is that I remember looking at the 993s when they were brand new, like from this perspective, you know? And so like, I remember looking at the Porsche crest and like, I remember like touching this and I was like, you know, I was just in heaven at that point in time, right? Cool. And so like, it's so cool to own this car and this spec, you know, 35 years later, and you know, having that kind of core memory still in the back of my brain. And obviously, my kid is dusting it with his tushy right now. But you know, again, it just comes with the territory. So 993 turbo. I bought this car in 2018, and I bought it from my buddy Jonathan at Merit Partners. It was originally a navy blue over gray. And so I don't mind the blue, but the gray interior was totally drab.
Yeah,
and
it brings like a such of a lower trim feel, right?
It just was just not right. But I actually, when I bought the car, I had every intention of doing exactly as you see with it, because actually when I bought it, I never even drove it once. I had them deliver it to the body shop.
Already with in mind.
It was like 25,000 miles on it too. It's not like it was beat up or anything. But I knew that I was going to buy this car, and this would be a car that I would just, you know, restore and keep forever in the right spec just for me. So as you can see, obviously, this is a Irish green, so totally redid it down to the frame on the car, had everything totally apart. It was almost took about 3 years for this entire project, which,
I can see.
you know, took a long time, but I think is, you know, turned out worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know, the drivetrain, I mean, is generally pretty stock. I put a different exhaust on. It's a fat-speed exhaust. You know, but the turbo motor with just over 400 horsepower is, I think it's just right for this car. You know, I mean, I like these older 90s cars because you can really, you know, have fun with them. You can ring them out without breaking the sound barrier, you know, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So it's like really well balanced for the car, and I didn't feel like I wanted to do the you know, the fully blown, you know, 900 horsepower setup on it.
Let me ask you a question. Can we start the engines or is a problem?
Yeah, we can turn it on.
Yeah, I would like to hear every engine if you don't
You want to
mind.
hear them? Okay. I got to grab the keys from my office, but we could definitely do that. You want me to grab the keys now?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Give me a sec. Let me go grab it.
Tá, e aí, ô, DG, o que vocês estão achando?
Top, isso aí. Top de linha.
Esse negócio é... Deixa eu... Ó, vocês estão botando legenda aí, né? Porque ele tá falando em inglês, a gente tá contando toda a história dos carros. Mas a história dele é o seguinte, ele começou no quarto de casa, montando faróis, assim, né? Desmontando de outros carros e foi indo ali em 2003, 4, 5, 6. E sorveu, é uma história que a maioria das empresas começa assim. Só que uma coisa que eu acho que é legal mostrar assim, cara, ele transformou isso num negócio multimilionário, bilionário, né? E tem muita história ainda assim da como é que a empresa dele cresceu tanto, né? Mas é legal ver o começo assim, e outro, o cara é um cara muito simples, né? O cara é tipo assim, super...
E de certa forma, história parecida com a sua, né?
todo mundo, mas cara, eu vou dizer, a história parecida com quase todo mundo. Tu também?
A minha também, eu comecei a vender
também?
internet pros vizinhos, puxando cabo pros vizinhos.
Exato, e tu tem hoje um monte, tu esse provedor de internet no Brasil e um negócio grande, né? Mas cara, todo mundo começa assim de uma maneira ou de outra. Mas a diferença assim é que como é que algumas pessoas conseguem fazer um turning point, assim, fazer virar a vida, sabe? E acho que isso é legal de aprender, de entender com os outros. Eu gosto muito de escutar histórias de pessoas que têm uma forma diferente de explicar como eles fizeram, mas também não é assim, vou fazer igual que vai dar certo. Cada pessoa vai ter a sua história, né?
Ele soube escalar o produto, né?
Ok, ready?
All right, let's do it.
Legal, hein? Fica só. Cara, That's a custom one-off or that's a
And we make them production. Yeah, like that. Then we got the headlights on the front. Morimoto too. We make these fog lights here.
Are your neighbors like you?
Yeah, they don't mind. I mean, I drive very respectably through the neighborhood. Yeah.
Amazing.
Love that car.
Definitely on my list of dreams as well. But the Ferrari, obviously, that's where we
This
met.
is it. Here you go, Ferrari boys. Yeah. This is my favorite car of all time. I mean, I've had a lot of cool cars over the years, and I think that like the design of this car is timeless. Honestly, I just love the silhouette and the profile of it, especially from the back. It does not get any better than this. Actually, that's why I park it here, because I could see it from my office. That's like the only one that I have to be able to see, and I just love the way that it looks. I love the way that it sounds. I love the way that it drives. I think that everything is just spot on and just pure 90s perfection.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me... Yeah, so he has a carbon fiber intakes here that gives a much better looking than the stock air filters, the exhausts. I love it's definitely different than mine because I took all these apart, but it's, at the same time you made the right changes for the modifications.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not original, but it's not anything close to what you see when you open the engine bay in yours.
On mine I didn't have this, so I did a carbon fiber one.
Oh yeah.
It's not vented, but at least it gives the
a little bit different.
The one thing in my car, I was talking to other 355 owners. My car doesn't heat up.
Really?
Like the stock ones. I think it's something about the ECU.
Wow.
It's the way they run the timing and the exhaust so hot.
Yeah.
My car, I can drive on the traffic.
Really?
2 hours if I need to.
I wouldn't expect that. That's kind of like the opposite of what I would expect, really. I mean,
super manageable. Also, I run E85, but the engine runs super cool, easy. I can manage temperature, coolant temperature.
Might be something to look into because I mean, to your point though, I mean the engine on these things gets incredibly hot. I mean, Driving this car too, like, you know, when it's the heat of summer outside,
Yeah.
I mean, the AC is obviously worthless, but I don't buy the car for the AC. Does
AC
it work well?
Works. AC
Really?
works really good.
But-
That's why I'm saying a lot of people complain about those.
Really?
But I think it's something about the tuning on the stock computer.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like the engine heat kind of overrides the AC. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you leave this car running for long enough, I mean, the headers will get red hot. And at least on my old one, I used to have a Grigio
But
Titanium.
that's timing. That's
Is it?
ignition timing.
Really?
I guarantee they did something not realizing they would affect that bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, 355 owners, Fuel Tech.
Yeah. No,
Get a hold of Anderson
my
here.
car, it can stay like 2 hours idling.
Really?
It will not
Really?
warm up.
Yeah.
It not will overheat.
Interesting.
Very, very. And I didn't never thought because my car it didn't even run with stock computer. So when I start talking to 355 owners, they all
Hmm. Yeah.
complain about the same
Yeah.
thing. Huh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, but honestly, I think more than that. Like, I mean, I feel like this car perpetually has a check engine light on for something.
Okay, then
it's always the.
I don't
it's-
have any more.
Well, yeah, you don't have that problem either, right? But I mean, it's like always they have
But they
these
will-
exhaust temperature sensors
Yeah.
that go bad so
But
frequently.
because they heat up
Yeah,
so much
because
the
they heat
exhaust,
up,
that
yeah.
causes all these problems.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean,
uh,
I need to buy like a 12 pack of those things because this is the second 355 I've had, and those things just go bad regularly.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, right? Because people give the 355 a bad reputation for being like so expensive to maintain. And like it's really not that
No,
bad. If you're
like-
not daily driving this car,
Yeah.
it's not as bad as, you know, the internet makes it seem.
This is like a cheap coil, regular coil.
Yeah.
I mean, all the sensors are regular sensors. Some you can find some in many other manufacturers.
Really?
You don't have to buy everything
Yeah.
from Ferrari.
Right, you buy the Ferrari part, you're going to pay 10 times more for it.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
also see that it's a double exhaust
Mm-hmm.
and twin turbo.
No, this is not the turbo. No.
So it's 4 exhausts.
Yeah, but the exhaust doesn't mean it's turbo. The turbos are before the exhaust. So this has the exhaust going to the muffler and has 4 outputs.
Okay.
But the turbos, for example, in my car, we have 1 turbo here. Some, they have 2 turbos, but this is naturally aspirated.
Naturally aspirated.
Yeah, the GTS is the slow version. The convertible is the fast one with the turbo.
There's a Fuel Tech, the fast
That's right. Yeah.
Man, I
but
love
no,
the
I
wheels,
love this
the
car. I mean, yeah.
brakes.
So it's got Morimoto taillights on it, right? I mean, that's
That's why
kind of how we like ultimately met. Is
Yeah.
I was like, who's this guy with this yellow 355 who's got the Morimoto taillights on? He's obviously like a cool guy with good taste. And you know, I think we spoke maybe one time at like Caffeine and Octane,
Yeah.
which is the big car show here in Atlanta. So we know we make fog lights too for this car.
Huh?
We have fog lights for this car too.
Oh, yeah. You know, I did on mine. I bought like cheap
Really?
Hella ones. Man, olha só. Eu acho muito legal a forma aqui como eles fizeram. The taillights, the headlights. Man, it's perfect. Yeah. It gives a modern, still vintage look for the car.
Yeah, you can also see how this combined with the red lights, how it turns red and it looks really good.
I love the GTS versions. It's this angle here is so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And the car is so wide.
Yeah.
People don't realize if you see on photos the 355s,
Right.
you feel they are smaller, but they are really,
They're really wide.
Really
Yeah.
wide.
If you go up and like you look at it from up there, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
best view. 3/4 from the back. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't make you hit the throttle. Let's shut up and go for the next car.
Turn it off.
Don't take me wrong, but we can almost shift or jump. No, for the newer Porsche. This is a cool car, but I think the cool story about this is they are actually the predecessor of this.
This one took the place of another car in the garage. I had a 95 Ferrari F50.
How crazy is to
Yeah.
have a F50?
Oh my God. I mean, that car was the top of the totem pole for me. I mean, obviously it's an incredible car to begin with, you know, and it's from the same era, you know, as these cars. Honestly, it's like kind of like the Big Daddy 355.
Yeah.
And when I got that F50, I was like, oh, it's kind of actually has a lot of similarities in terms of like the overall character and like the ergonomics inside to the 355, which I was already so familiar with. But yeah, no, I bought the F50 in 2020. It was the second one that was ever made, which was really cool because it had a lot of history to it. It was the first one that was ever made entirely in the Ferrari factory because the first one was more or less a prototype. And so like the car that I had was the one that they used when they unveiled the F50 to the world at the Geneva Auto Show. Or was it Geneva or Frankfurt? Frankfurt Auto Show back in Germany in like 1994 or 5. Yeah, so had a lot of history to it. And, you know, I mean, that car was very low mileage. It was really, really well taken care of, like 3,000 miles on it. And I mean, it's unlike anything else. I mean, with the V12, you know, the 6-speed manual, no ABS, no power steering.
It's analog.
I mean, and I put straight pipes on it. It was very hard for me to resist modifying that car. And, you know, my other good friends and the guys that I bought it from, I always tease them because I said, I'm going to paint this car green and I'm going to redo the interior tan. And they said, I will kill you if you touch this car, you know? And so, I mean, it's like owning the Mona Lisa and wanting to like redo it or whatever. And, you know, ultimately I never did that. I did change the exhaust and I put different wheels on it for a little while. But yeah, I mean, I ended up selling it. I had, you know, kind of a scary moment in the car when I was driving it. And in any case, you know, I mean, moved on.
Oh, I know, like, I'm good friends with Colton Amsterdam in Red Line Restoration in Connecticut, and I know him. So Colton has, he takes care, he curates.
Oh, curating.
Curates collections, and his worst nightmare, he has done a few times is he is in the middle of the night. He has a nightmare. He's driving the F50.
Oh, really?
In the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't realize why I'm driving this and putting another mile on this car, and somebody crashed in the car.
Oh
so
my
he's
God!
freaking
Yeah,
out.
I mean, like, and look, so that's part of the reason I sold it, right? Is like the car that I had was so perfect, and it was such low mileage. It wasn't 30 miles, but it was low mileage, and it had so much history, being the second car ever made, that it was like almost like guilty driving it, right? And like all these cars, I love to drive these cars. You know, like I don't want to feel bad about it, whether it's my kid getting in the car and walking around like on the seats,
that's cool.
you know, or putting their fingerprints on them, or I'm out driving and it's raining. Like I don't want to have cars like that I can't enjoy. And so the F50 was like just over that line where there was just too much money rolling on four wheels, you know. And so at some point in the future, I want to find the crappiest F50 on the planet. I want to take it apart. I want to paint it green. I want to do the interior.
I'm sorry to say, but that's probably not going to exist.
Maybe
There's
one day.
No crappy
I mean, maybe, you know, somebody will crash
anymore.
one and I could buy it at a value, and, you know, that'll be the one that I drive and keep forever. But that one, you know, was just too nice for me to do my thing to it, which is modify the cars and kind of make them my own, right?
But now I have, I think, one of the questions that I think is intriguing for people that always see your story is how you turn it into from doing a bedroom project, bedroom apartment project into a corporation and so successful business like you built. How was that transition? And how long did that take?
Well, I mean, look, it's obviously a long story. You know, I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years, and so
have 2 minutes.
And so there's a million things that have happened, you know, between you know, from the time I started the company until, you know, like where it is today. But I mean, you know, look, I think that first thing, and I tell this to everybody, you know, who asks, is like, you're not going to be able to grow like a business from, you know, like a small bedroom business into, you know, a large profitable company at scale without like really just being passionate about it, right? And so like for me, that was always easy because I'm just a car guy at heart, you know, and I loved spending the time on my business, you know, as a hobby and working, you know, late nights and weekends and things like that to invest into it. But you know, how did it go from, you know, my parents' basement into the company that is today? I just kept reinvesting the money back into the business, hiring really good people and letting go of the ones who, you know, weren't a good fit. And, you know, I think just really listening to our customers and listening to our dealers, what it was that they liked, taking every bit of criticism, you know, constructively rather than letting it get me down. and just basically focusing all that effort into optimizing the business all
Yeah.
the time. And that's really it. But we built an incredible product line that our customers and our dealers love, and we just kept adding to that and reinvesting into the business and good
how,
people.
for example, when you really grow the number of employees, or
Yeah.
how long that took?
Yeah. Well, for a long time, I mean, the company really had no more than like 20 people, plus or minus. I would say like from 2005 to 2011 is when I brought it to Atlanta from Columbus, Ohio. And I hired, my third employee when I got to Atlanta in 2011. From 2011 to 2018, we grew from 3 people to about 20. And then when I found my first partner, it was a private equity investor, also based out of here in Atlanta, in 2018 to 2021, we were about 75 people. Together, we grew the company about 5 times. And I mean, that was obviously what catalyzed the biggest changes when we got an investor, because I went from the guy who had to do every little job in the business to them coming in and supporting me and helping me build a team around me
find the right partners
of
is
people
definitely-
to optimize the operations and the accounting and a lot of the other aspects of management that I wasn't necessarily like the right guy for, even though I was the one that did every single job at some point in time, and so we were able to put the right people in place to scale up all these different aspects of the business, and ultimately that enabled me to get back to doing what I love for the business, which was making products and making products that I knew our customers would like, as a car guy and an enthusiast myself, right? And so I was at one point like in the role of the CEO, pushing spreadsheets and papers around and doing all kinds of reporting, and that wasn't fun. And that's not where I added the most value. So when I was able to do that, I think then that was the sweet spot for me and the
right
business, and enabled us to really, peak in everything that we did.
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
have a question. So basically, in the story of how you made the headlights,
Yeah.
how did you like take it apart from the oven?
Yeah. I mean, back in the early 2000s, I wasn't the guy that invented taking headlights apart. I mean, car guys would heat up their headlights and they would peel them apart so that they can like paint the insides black. That was kind of like a common mod back in the days. But I mean, all headlights, more or less, they're sealed with glue around the outside edge that seals the lens onto the rear half of the housing. And so when you heat them up, that glue gets soft, and you can just take a screwdriver and just pry that lens right off, and then voila, got access to the internals. Do whatever you want with it.
He's really intrigued into starting a business.
Yeah.
So he's thinking of every single. You see, you have a good stories to learn here.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, now we're going to maybe the jewels of the collection.
Yeah, right. This is the non-green side of the collection. Yeah. So these are the outcasts over here.
You're painting this green?
I've definitely picked out a color. I'll just say that.
Okay.
It hasn't. We
I'm
haven't.
sure you thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He wants to. Let's heat up this.
Okay, you want me to grab the keys for this one? All right, let's start there.
James, aí, James.
Eu tô aqui esperando o voo.
O James tá esperando. Olha ali, ó. Ó, fumacinha, ó. Motor de corrida é isso aí. Gelado. You hit that before, right?
What's that?
The engine was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was moving around earlier. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Ele já tinha ligado antes.
When I was walking right there, it
Aham.
came out.
Cara, isso aqui é nude, bro. This is the pin. I never heard one running in my life. Olha aí, ó. And it's still so, the engine is still quiet actually.
Yeah, I mean, this one has just an exhaust on it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's totally stock. It's a GMG titanium exhaust,
Yeah.
straight pipe.
And you can see the engine block right in the middle.
That's it. Engine right there, transmission. That's a full carbon fiber monocoque frame. It's artwork in there.
Yeah.
And then you can see it.
Shut up.
And this car, I mean, sitting here idling is one thing, but when you're out there driving it on the road, like under, like when you're pulling
I need
it.
to see that.
I mean, that's a totally different beast for sure. I mean, high
Man.
RPM with the exhaust. It's pretty wild.
What's the red line on this?
What's the red line on this? It's 8,500.
8,500.
8,500 RPM.
But the engine is
V10.
a state, the pinnacle of the engineering.
Yeah,
Crazy how
it's
Porsche did this.
really unique to anything
Yeah.
else Porsche did, right? I mean, when they came out with this car, this was like the 996 era, right? So it's early 2000s, and in fact, actually, this car shares some parts with the 996s.
Yeah.
Same door handle, same steering wheel, some other pieces and parts inside. But they'll never make anything like this again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the 918 is a really cool car. Spent some time driving those, but this is the GOAT,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
This is timeless.
this is a 2004. This is actually a pretty early car too. This is a number 50.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Number
Yep.
50.
So
Man.
original color combination for now. I bought this car in 2016. At the time, I was the only car I had because I had I had a blue with white stripes Viper GTS. I had a 993 Turbo and a Acura NSX. And I sold all those cars.
yeah.
I sold all of them just so that I could buy this because like I had the opportunity to buy it. It was one of those cars that I knew that as time went by would only get more expensive to
Yeah.
buy. And so I sold everything just to buy this car, and I've kept it ever since. So it's the oldest car, at least in my collection, in this garage. And it's incredible.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Again, congrats.
It's incredible.
It's
Thanks.
amazing.
Yeah. So iridium green is the color. I'm going to paint it iridium, and it's actually funny too because this was like easily the most expensive car I had in my collection for a long time. And it was sort of like fit in that same bucket of like, I want to drive it, but maybe I shouldn't drive it because I don't want to put the miles on it. And then when I got the F50, then I started driving the crap out of this car because I was,
How many miles you put on it?
I probably put about 4,500 miles on this car since I've had it, which I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a good amount of mileage, for a Carrera GT. Obviously without any car seats in it or anything, I don't drive it so much. But yeah, it's great.
Man, amazing,
Great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Estão vendo quem tá aqui, ó? Emilia Harford. Para quem me acompanha desde a saga do Corvette, do C8, ela é a minha grande rival na época, né? Ela que tinha o recorde, eu fui lá e tirei o recorde dela e acabei ficando com o recorde mais baixo, fui o primeiro a entrar nos 8 segundos, mas a parte dessa rivalidade sempre teve muita... Depois de um tempo a gente acabou se conhecendo e mandando mensagem, e eu ajudei ela em várias coisas, ela me ajudou em algumas coisas também, então teve uma relação muito legal. E aqui no carro dela é o primeiro carro que ela bota a Fueltech. Então esse aqui é um Nissan 400Z, que é patrocinado pela Nissan Estados Unidos. Inclusive ela ficou muito famosa depois que ela fez inclusive o filme do Gran Turismo, né? E é uma das atrizes do Gran Turismo. Ela tá num nível assim impressionante. É legal de conhecer ela desde o início da carreira dela no YouTube, né? E ela tem uma história muito até difícil assim de vida. Ela perdeu o pai muito jovem, ela era uma família bem pobre, ela trabalhava, se não me engano, num posto de gasolina como atendente, e teve uma situação que eu acho que um chefe dela disse que ela não quer conseguir ter sucesso na vida, ela saiu, pediu demissão e começou a fazer o canal do YouTube, e daqui a pouco ela começou a ter sucesso, ela foi lá, comprou o Corvette, e aí quando ela comprou o C8 ela deslanchou, porque ela ficou mundialmente famosa, e ela sempre tinha o sonho de ser carreira de atriz, ela nunca tinha conseguido. E aí ao longo do tempo ela foi conseguindo, com a fama do YouTube ela acabou entrando como atriz e fez aí o Gran Turismo, tá fazendo outros filmes, acho que séries de Netflix ela já fez algumas. É legal ver assim, porque é difícil a gente ter acesso a conhecer a história de alguém assim, sabe? Então fico feliz, a gente fica feliz de ver que ela ainda é uma pessoa muito esforçada, que bota a mão, tá aqui literalmente botando a mão mesmo no carro. Muito desse carro foi construído por ela. E esse carro ela construiu por uma parceria com a Nissan USA, justamente para apresentar numa corrida que teve algumas semanas atrás. Acabou a corrida, eles trouxeram aqui para acertar e agora eles vão para a pista. Então é um Nissan 400Z, que é do modelo novo, ó. O interior dele todo tipo montado assim, mas ele tem um câmbio TH400, que é um câmbio bem de arrancada. Só que o motor não é o motor original, é o motor um VR38, que é o motor do GTR, um R35, feito pela Cício Performance, que é um parceiro nosso aqui perto também, o cara que faz os câmbios no meu C8 também, né? Fez para ela também, um FT600, FT Injector, metanol, duas turbinas de 71 mm, borboleta eletrônica, os 4 VVT aqui, ó, funcionando. É bem legal ver, o carro tá bem complexo aqui. E o objetivo era, o recorde era 1.600 ou 1.400 cavalos de roda, já deu 1.700 e pouco, eles estão indo agora para ver se vamos dar uma de 2.000 cavalos de roda. Mas mesmo assim, 2.000 cavalos já nesse motor aqui já é impressionante, é disparado o carro mais potente dela. Então é legal tá adicionando esse momento aqui. Vamos bater um papo aí agora, eu vou fazer um convite para ela, vamos ver se ela vai aceitar. Olha quem é que está aqui, ó, Emília Harford. Finalmente, de Fueltech. Now you have a Fueltech car.
Yes.
It's not a C8, but maybe in the future, right?
You never know.
Thanks for coming, and we appreciate you making the 2,000 horsepower here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Very-
You guys have been so gracious, and I'm excited to finally be here in Georgia and to bring the car here and to work together is great.
Yeah, and I want to invite you to come later and ride the jet skis and other cars.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm so down. I want to drive your Corvette,
Yes,
and I want to drive this 1,200 horsepower jet ski.
that I want to see.
Okay. Oh my god! Basically 1900.
Tava feliz aí, o recorde. Acho que é o Z mais potente do mundo, uma coisa assim. 400Z pelo menos.
This is amazing. This is officially the world's highest horsepower Nissan Z.
Yeah, it's incredible, and the engine made, I would say, more than everyone expected, right?
Definitely more than what everyone thought.
I believe, I remember you were questioning if that was 2,000 horsepower crank,
Yeah.
and we cleared that up by
Yeah.
making 1,900 wheel horsepower.
Yeah, it's incredible. That is incredible. Thank you for everything, and obviously for your support, but outside of the Z, just the hospitality and everything,
No.
you guys helped make this happen, so
Yes.
I'm excited to be here today to do this.
And for us, it's a great pleasure because we've been, everyone here is a car person, a car guy, and we always been watching you since the C8 Corvette challenge. You definitely inspired me as well to
And
go.
likewise.
Yeah, to go over to make something different. I think when everyone's saying that the C8 was untunable or was impossible to do something, that's when we most got excited to to do something.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm excited. I hope to see our cars back as well and see yours.
And we have some things in the works, so
Yeah, that's-
stay tuned.
and you also invited to come back and ride the jet skis.
I would love that.
Yeah, you
I would
have
love
more
that,
experience.
yeah.
I think it'll be a different experience to ride 1,000.
See how long I can be wide open throttle on that
Yeah,
thing.
let's see if 10
I guess
seconds,
it's
15
button,
seconds.
so.
But good luck on the track. I
Thank
think
you.
the car sounds great. Tuning was very smooth, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, after going over the details of the car, a new build was normal thing. Everything sounds really good.
Yeah. Sounds good, sounds healthy. I'm ready to go to the drag strip.
I like the power plant. I just want to say, we don't do V6 every day, right? And I think it's a cool experience for all of us. And it took a while for us to get a handle the whole deal. Like it's a new platform, but some stuff is like domestic style. I personally like you have like a turbo 400 3-speed. I think this will assist you a lot on making the car go fast, right? But car is light, car is beautiful, right? The car have power, right? It has a good transmission setup. You have the right group of people with you,
Yeah.
So I think you guys taking off from here, you already know what it makes. Now you're gonna see like how fast can it run,
Yeah.
and more likely
Now
to
we
be
have to
pretty
make you
fast.
guys proud at the drag strip.
You'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool. Pretty cool.
I totally thought you were going to come in and be like, I just have to say, I'm glad we went up on the RPM. I'm glad we put more boost on it.
I'm gonna tell you this.
That was
okay?
a very nice message you left
I'm
us
just
with, so
gonna,
thank you.
say, once you guys hit the strip and you kind of like how this thing is gonna be going, you guys gonna go up on boost, gonna go up on RPM. This just start. This just start. So we give you guys a good head start.
A good start, yeah.
You can rev higher, you can handle more boost.
Now
you
we
guys are
know.
gonna be fine.
Now we know.
Good deal. Good deal.
Okay, thank you for coming. Hope
Thank you for having
enjoy. Thanks for trusting Fueltech as well. We're very proud to have a Fueltech on your car.
Thank you. Me too. baby. My nitrous baby.
Felipe that works with us, he's a crazy, die-hard Ford guy.
Yeah.
Felipe will be happy here, but
Yes, this is a 06 Ford GT. This is what I guess Ford would call a 4-option car. And, you know, they only had so many options with these cars when they were brand new. And honestly, I'm not even sure exactly what it is. So I think it's the stripes, the Macintosh sound system, and I think a couple other things. I mean, really, none of which are significant or important, you know, given the car itself.
same thing?
Should I grab the keys for this one? I think it's inside. Keegan, are the keys inside this one?
Yeah.
Can you turn it on?
Can I?
He won't turn it on. Can you ride it?
ride with you. You can turn around.
Here, bud, go in that seat over there. I'm gonna turn this one on.
Turn around.
No, that's a bad idea.
Close the door.
Let's go,
Tá
buddy.
quente aí já, porque ele ligou antes. Mas ele ligou aquela a carreira de ET que eu no fundo ali, meu Jesus amado.
That's muscle car, American V8 right there.
Yeah, that is. But the combination of the car is great. Yeah, there you go.
Do it one more time. Deixa eu acelerar mais uma vez o outro.
Man, this car is insane.
America. America.
Amazing. It must be very, very unique experience.
Yeah.
This car is like such of a race car, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is actually the newest car, at least to me. I bought it maybe about a year ago, year and a half ago. And I always liked the way the cars looked, you know, but I never had... Let me out, buddy. Here, let me get you out here. Never had a chance to drive one, but, you know, I mean, I saw this one for sale, you know, at my buddy's place down in Atlanta, and he's like, yeah, go take it for a test drive. And he knew what he was doing. You know, he knew what he was doing. Yeah, and, you know, it was a reasonable price. I mean, I think that this car, you know, definitely will become, you know, even more collectible than it already is as time goes by. And
absolutely.
so...
it's just like
a friend of mine and I, we actually bought this car together. But I mean, it's special. You know, I mean, I think that, you know, I've owned a couple Dodge Vipers before, and those cars are like hogs. You know, I mean, I like the way those cars look, and I always had a soft spot for Vipers, but I've owned 2 of them, and like they're the worst freaking cars to drive. They're just so sloppy and floppy on the road. And this car was totally different than that. It's really sharp, really nimble, and I think that like the driving characteristics of it are actually like really more like a Ferrari or a Porsche, you know, like really sharp and dialed compared to something kind of floppy like a Dodge Viper. So I fell in love with it, you know, honestly, really, really quickly. And again, love the way it looks.
It has so much Ken Miles spirit in it. Right?
Yeah, 100%. You know, and this car's really clean, but it's got like over 10,000 miles on it. And so again, it's great. You know, it's great for me because I like to drive it and I don't feel guilty driving it. And, you know, or when my kids come out the window and, you know, hang off the mirror. Yeah.
Man, I really first of all appreciate your time and spending. The guys are all freaking out here. Dennis, calm down, Dennis. It's really hard to have an opportunity to meet somebody that has such a cool story.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is. I don't know. I feel very similar as well with your story because, like I was telling the guys, every single entrepreneur has a similar story.
Right.
Obviously, there are different stones in the way. There are different, and there are many of those. Nobody will be successful without going through hard times.
That's right.
And that's the part where I think it's cool for everybody to know that it's always that, because a lot of the difference is people that give up during the hard times because they think the successful people actually didn't have that.
That's right.
And, and that's where people don't realize that that's the difference between the two situations.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's no shortcut to getting there, right? And it just takes a lot of hard work and commitment, and dedication. But it's a pleasure sharing the collection with you guys. Thanks for coming by. Yeah. I always,
next time you come to our place.
Yeah, come out. So you guys are in Ball Ground, not far
Yeah.
from here. It'd be good to take a little drive up there and I guess see what it is.
You're welcome to drive any of these cars.
Yeah,
over
right.
there. You'll be very welcome.
We might come back with some new turbos on them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I keep thinking about that. What you were telling me on the 355, how it runs cooler. That's really interesting.
No, that can be done in a plug and play. It's literally unplug the stock harness and plug the ECU and it runs.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't touch a single wire in the car. It's behind the passenger seat.
Yeah, it's in the kind of right behind the seats.
I'll prepare one for you.
Okay. All right, I'm intrigued.
Man,
all right, man. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you guys enjoy your weekend, man.
Okay. See you later, man.
I'll bring some lights. You bring the ECU.
See you, man.
Gigs. Give him a little fist bump.
See you, man. Okay.
All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers. Ok, vamos. Ó, episódio aí top aí. Espero que treinarem inglês, né? Pra quem de vocês aí assiste no Brasil aí, ó. Muito inglês, mas ó, é oportunidade de volta e bota inglês, estuda tudo. Obrigado aí, eu agradecer o Matt por ter disponibilizado o tempo aqui para mostrar pra gente também. O pessoal aí acho que curtiu, o Denis tá até agora babando ali no Carreira GT. Tá emocionado aí, mas é muito legal a oportunidade aí. Obrigado aí, agradecer o Matt de novo aí por ter nos recebido. Obrigado também, Carlos, aí por ter apresentado aí. Prazer. Turma aí é 10 aí. Então, espero que tenham gostado. Até o próximo episódio aí. Tchau.